Is ADHD Awareness Month. Well, I'm Lily and I'm here to enlighten you if you didn't know that. I just found that out a week ago and I thought, I've got to do a YouTube video on this. I have a YouTube channel and I'm trying to add some education to it. I wanted to make this under 10 minutes because yesterday I already tried it and guess what? It turned out to be 20 minutes and it wouldn't upload. So I'm going to try to be less chatty and more to the point. Now, I wanted to talk about it more from the perspective of someone who has it, namely myself, instead of what Google will tell you or what your physician will tell you, because you could just look that up. How about a real human perspective? Not only that, but what are some tips to make life easier? I have known about my ADHD for 20 years. I found out when I was 30, which makes me 50 now. I found out because I was having difficulty at work and I was tired of losing so many jobs and just being fatigued and frustrated. I was in my dream job. I was in a brand new condo and I thought everything should be perfect, but it wasn't. I thought, okay, what do I do to make this more perfect? And what is my deal? Well, it turned out that I saw a book by Daniel Amen. I can't remember the name of it, but it was incredible. And after reading the table of contents, I realized, wow, I'm ADHD 100%. So I went and got an assessment by a psychologist who specialized in it. I was off the charts. In fact, my anxiety was off the charts. That's one tip-off for a person that they might have it, is that they don't know why they're so anxious. So I highly recommend that you get yourself assessed if you find that everything should be in place in the sense of you've got what you wanted and yet you still are just struggling. Yeah, it was really tough. But then with my medication, and I'm not condoning medication or promoting it, I'm just saying that I started taking it and it made a huge difference. The way I felt without it was, imagine being in an amusement park and the rides at the amusement park are going about 85 miles an hour, but imagine that those rides are thoughts. So your thoughts are flying around like crazy. You can barely finish a sentence because the next thought's coming. And it's frustrating because you're going, you can't finish the thought. So that's really hard for the person also trying to have a conversation with you. I understand with inattentive ADHD, it looks more spaced out, like the person just doesn't know what to say. So ask someone with inattentive ADHD instead of hyperactive ADHD what that's like. Well, maybe my husband could tell you, but he's cooking right now. So yes, I married a fellow squirrel, as we're called. I'm so glad I made that decision. Anyhow, I'm so glad I got the diagnosis, because man, it makes life easier when you know how you're wired. It's like the blood flow in the brain just doesn't go to all the right places at the right time, which is why you get the medication, because it changes the flow of the blood into the right areas. Now, the other thing is that I realized that I have what they call an auditory comprehension problem, which goes along with ADHD, which means that, especially when you're more tired, but in general, you have a hard time piecing together what people are talking about when you hear them. It's like they're saying so much at once and you can't follow. And that might be that you lose them halfway through their through their sentence, because you just can't grasp the whole meaning. And that was really hard for me when I was talking with my brother, who, as it is, expresses himself more slowly than I do. I just often think and talk at the same time. He edits more. So that's another thing I was told. Sorry, my hair is now in my eye. Oh, lovely. So that's something to know, that it's not a intellect related issue. It's brain wiring. So that's one misnomer, that the person is crazy, stupid, or lazy. Couldn't be farther from the truth. It just makes you feel that way, which makes the self-esteem plummet when you don't know what the real reason is. Now, as far as tips, now that you know that it's what it's like with the ADHD for me, I got a relational tip, a couple relational tips. First of all, let's say you are riding in a car with someone. Let's say you know that you have ADHD. The person who's driving is talking. Look at them while they're talking so that you can focus better on what they're saying. Because otherwise, I mean, the way people normally sit in a car is the face forward. The scenery's passing, it's gorgeous, but it's easy to lose focus that way. Plus, you might interrupt what they're saying because you had a thought fly through your head. That's happened to me more than one time with my husband. But what I learned that it was a lot easier to do is to turn and look at him. So I not only listen better, but I can tell when his mouth is moving so that I won't interrupt him. It works really well. The other thing is, just checking my notes here, if you do happen to realize that you have spaced out when someone's talking with you, at least just be honest and say, hey, you know what, the last thing I remember you saying was soccer, or whatever word that you remember last hearing. What came after that? Do you mind telling me? I really want to hear what you had to say. Now, if they get mad at you, that's their problem. At least you cared enough to ask, right? I've had people very thankful that I stopped them and said, you know, I must have spaced out. And the other thing is, if you are prone to babble in a conversation, try the trick of asking a question every 30 seconds. It's actually a sales trick to make sure that the person's not talking too much. So ask a question of them every 30 seconds. Doesn't really matter. I mean, some question related to what you're talking about, maybe to get their opinion. The other thing is, beware of fidgety people when you're talking. Maybe they're getting bored. I remember before I knew what my brain wiring was, I would follow people who didn't want to be followed, or I would listen in on conversations when it was private. It was embarrassing. So now I'm hyper aware of it. Since in junior high, I didn't have a clue. And then some organizational tips really quick. If you're going grocery shopping and you have a hard time as it is going grocery shopping like I do, maybe you don't, but maybe you can't stand shopping like I can't, then don't cook when you get home afterwards. Try to make 2 steps out of it, like first day grocery shopping, next day cooking. Because it's a lot of executive function, as they call it, decision making, being organized. It's exhausting. And then you'll start to resent the whole process. So maybe shop the first day, cook the next day. Or, if you want to still get ahead, shop the first day, then prep some of the food, then actually cook it the next day. I also set the timer for about 10 minutes, or even 15 minutes, if I'm going to wash dishes. For anything boring, basically. And then set some music or something to keep your focus off what you can't stand doing but want to get done, okay? Then the other thing is a dry erase board. I love these things. It's a great way to be sort of artistic because you're using a dry erase marker, and you use it to record what you want to take care of, or just your accomplishments or reminders. I love using it. Other thing is a brown paper bag, the brown paper bag trick, which is namely to create order out of chaos. I might have learned this in my ADHD support group like 10 years ago. I can't remember. I think Stephen Peer might have even taught me. He was awesome. What you do with that brown bag is you put all the papers that are on the table into the brown bag, just so that you at least see some semblance of clear, nice order. And then what you do after that is take out paper after paper, look at it, decide, am I going to file it, recycle it, read it, what? But one at a time. You set the timer for maybe, 15 minutes. And yes, I keep forgetting to where to look, sorry. But the brown bag trick gives you an instant sense of calm, because you have created some calm with a clear table. And you can tote the brown bag over to your bed or whatever you want to do until the next time you're ready to take care of it. But it's better to do it all in one. Oh, it's already 10 minutes. I'll talk a little bit faster. And the other thing is to use your phone to text yourself reminders, unless you want to carry a notebook around. But we have so many ideas coming to us. That's one of the great things about ADHD, is we're full of ideas. We make great marketing people. Oh my gosh. Well, what do you do with all those ideas? You might get stressed out because you can't keep track of them all. Text yourself the idea. And the other thing being, use the calendar in your phone to remind yourself and set an alarm to make it buzz, okay? What was the other thing? To ask at work for reasonable accommodation, like a standing desk, if it will help you out, because that'll help them out too if you're more productive, right? I used a job coach at my county job that I was able to quit 2 years ago, because I would have otherwise been fired in the first 3 months. I was changing everything at work, trying to understand it. They didn't know I had ADHD because I hadn't said anything. I hired a job coach. I just totally forgot his name. But anyway, he was awesome. Then what was the other thing? So yeah, it's not like it's a death sentence to have ADHD. It's fabulous. Just don't use it as an excuse for not getting ahead, all right? I'm Lily. Tune into Life Tools by Lily, and I'm trying to remember anything else about it, but there's way too much, and it's already 11 minutes, and it probably lost your attention because you might have ADHD, all right? Check in the details section of this video, and I'll have more resources for you, okay? Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in.